Time now to see what Scott Jennings was up to last night, and I'm pretty sure it was damn good because, well, he's Scott Jennings. It got kind of fiery, actually. I think people are coming on that show knowing that he's the big dog, he's the alpha, it's his show. And so they want to go viral. They want people to see them on television. Look at me, I'm on TV. And so they decided the best way to do that is to pick a fight with Scott Jennings. Let's see how that works out for him.
Man, you cannot just go and say, I like it. It's mine now. It doesn't work that way. Well, that is what they're trying to do. And in this new world order, yeah, absolutely. When they're looking at Greenland and say, I like it. I want to take it for mine. That is a very colonized.
You have said I have never ever said we're going to go to Greenland and quote colonize it or steal it.
You're not a member of government, so you're irrelevant at that point. I'm talking about the president of the United States doing that.
You got fired from your job.
You can agitate.
If you want to engage in personal insults,
I don't, but you do.
You lack in a legitimate point, you make up for it in personal insults.
I don't. You
personal insults. The point I am making is in this new world order, we are looking at countries, whether or not they're an adversary or ally, it is being determined on what kind of deal we can get. And we cannot govern, we cannot legislate that way. We are increasingly isolated on the world stage.
No,
so if you want to engage in personal insults,
we're not
if I were you, I would reserve that for your party who is increasingly isolated. This will our position.
All right, so let me just break this down for you because there was a lot of overlapping talk there. She called Scott Jennings irrelevant and his opinion irrelevant. Scott Jennings says, well, listen, I mean, I understand you got fired from your last job, but that doesn't mean you have to personally insult. Then she got all indignant because she thinks Scott Jennings insulted her personally by pointing out the fact that she got fired, even though she had just actually personally insulted him by claiming that he's irrelevant. Which, by the way, I love that you're sitting on the same panel show on CNN together, and you're telling your colleague there that they're irrelevant. Well, if I'm irrelevant and I'm sitting next to you on the same show, what does that make you exactly? And by the way, what's your name? Because I'm Scott frickin' Jennings. But the whole idea that she said, hey, we can't just go around the world and tell other countries that we want to negotiate a deal that's in our best interest. That's like colonialism. We can't do that. It's like, what world are you living in? Because I guarantee you that is literally exactly what every country on the planet does when they engage with their partners and adversaries. But I know as a Democrat, she's not used to that because her leadership actually would rather not. They would rather defer to other countries. They think that America has no right being its own country. They think that we are a blight on the planet. They think that the world would have been better off if the United States were never created. Don't believe me? Go talk to some of them, the ones in leadership or the ones that teach history classes at your local liberal arts college. More Scott Jennings. He was having a good night last night. She really asked for it.
You want to engage in personal insults?
I don't, but you do.
You lack in a legitimate point, you make up for it in personal insults.
I don't. You
personal insults. The point I am making is in this.
Hold on. I want to start this from the beginning because I just want to. We give a lot of praise to Scott Jennings for coming up with great moments on the fly. He obviously always sticks to the facts. He always delivers the perfect one-liners. He's very glib. He gives us great expressions back to the camera, all that stuff. But could we just pause for a moment and enjoy and relish and praise him for his patience? Because I want you to put yourself in his chair for a minute and imagine you have to endure what he's going to endure over the course of the next 20 seconds. And he honestly must be the most patient man on the planet. Let's watch.
Want to engage in personal insults?
I don't, but you do.
You lack in a legitimate point, you make up for it in personal insults.
I don't. You
personal insults. The point I am making is in this new world order, we are looking at countries, whether or not they're an adversary or ally, it is being determined on what kind of deal we can get. And we cannot govern, we cannot legislate that way. We are increasingly isolated on the world stage.
No, we're not.
So if you
That's just, I mean, again, the fact that he could just sit there calmly, breathing. I wonder what his pulse rate is. Is he a marathon runner or something? This is an incredible thing to behold. I couldn't do it. You know, a lot of times it's like, hey, Larry, you should go on these shows. No, they ask sometimes. They don't ask anymore because I've said no so many times. I'll do Newsmax now and again. And I'll be on Sean Spicer's show tomorrow because he's a friend and I like him. But other than that, I could not do that. I'm too used to being in this setting where I can speak my mind and I can spend as much time as I want delivering my message. And that doesn't work on cable news. I also like to lay out arguments and give facts in history. That you get like 45 seconds per hit, even on this show. Because look at it. You got Abby Phillips. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. 60-minute show. Break out the commercials. That means you got about 43 minutes of content divided by those 6 individuals. And Abby Phillips gets to decide when you stop and start talking. Jennings has a skill set. He's great at it. There's no way I could survive. My head would explode. Honestly, it would be insane. All right, one last clip here. This time now, he gets to pivot from the maniac on his left and turns instead to the maniac across the table. Our favorite maniac, mi abuela, Ana Navarro.
He's mercurial. Honestly, if it was Kamala Harris behaving this way, they'd call her hormonal and hysterical, right? Look,
we'd have to get elected to be.
But well, yes, and if she had been elected, and if Hillary Clinton had been elected, if any woman had been elected and been acting this way, they'd say it was menopause.
She would have never stood up to China. So
well,
I think this is a mood issue, right?
No, it's not.
Bad idea, Anna. She's trying to do this whole, sexism thing and misogyny thing, and if women acted this way, they'd say they're hysterical or menopausal or hormonal and everything. And Jennings is like, yeah, but you got to win first. You actually have to hold on to a policy like this first. You have to not, bend the knee to China to be accused of this. I know it's like she has no response to that. See, she's used to being on The View, where she says something like that, and all the screaming memes in the audience scream and applaud. And all the other brain-dead women around the table with her said, that's right, girl, that's right. And instead, Scott Jennings like, oh, I'm sorry, would Kamala Harris do this? Because I've never seen her do anything close to this because she hasn't won an election. And she has no response. She doesn't know what to say because she's not actually used to engaging with somebody who disagrees with her, let alone actually even talking to them. Scott Jennings, we love you, man. I don't know how you continue to do this, seriously. And I don't know how you haven't just demanded to the CNN brass and said, enough of this. Can you just give me my show? I'll have these people on one-on-one and we'll engage, but let me pick the topics. Let me deliver the message. I'm the reason people are tuning in. It's obvious to anybody who watches. And the fact that CNN hasn't done that, the fact that CNN continues to have the primetime lineup they have, that is literally the last in the ratings in all of cable news and has been that way for going on a decade now. The fact that they actually have television gold with Scott Jennings and they haven't offered him his own show tells you that they don't care about ratings. They don't care about revenue. They don't care about good, smart television that you would actually enjoy watching, that actually gives voice to what you believe. They don't care about any of that. They do care about maintaining their political agenda, which is weird for a corporation to focus more on a political agenda, especially a corporation involved in, journalism and media and communications. You'd think that they'd be in a First Amendment stance where all voices are welcome and elevated and promoted equally, but they're not. They're not, which is fine with us because that's what CNN has built and that's what CNN is going down and sinking with. And while they go down, shows like this on this platform, we continue to soar. So don't change CNN. Scott Jennings, if I were you, look into streaming.